أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة وعبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة ما خاب والله من تمسك بكم وأمن من لجأ إليكم سادتي يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز فوزا عظيما.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
قال الله في محكم كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قد خسر الذين قتلوا أولادهم سفها بغير علم صدق الله العلي العظيم. Uplift your gatherings with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala
Come closer, sit in front of me, inshallah, so I could speak to you guys directly. Sweeten your gatherings with the second loud salawat ala Muhammad. The Holy Quran says, in loss are those who kill their children out of arrogance and foolishness. What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala trying to address in the Holy Quran in this holy verse? The pagans of Jahiliyyah in the Arabian Peninsula and pagans all around the world used to have human sacrifices. We have read about these, we've seen them on television. It wasn't something that only the Arabs partook in, but this was something that all pagans around the world would partake in. We have all heard that the Arabs in the Arabian Peninsula would bury their infant daughters in fear of poverty. But had we have ever heard that they used to also give their eldest sons or their most beautiful sons as human sacrifices to their false gods? We had never heard this. Not many scholars elaborate this, but the Holy Quran also mentions this. And if you go back to the exegetes and mufassirin of the Holy Quran, they tell you that no, it wasn't just the infant daughters, it was even their sons. To their false gods, believing out of foolishness that this God will give them a better crop, will give them better yield from their crops, will give them more profits from their businesses, from their trades. So they would go and give the most beloved thing to them, to themselves, and that is their children. Out of foolishness, not knowing in reality that this won't change anything in their life. This won't give them more crops. This won't give them more profits in their business. This won't make them win the war that they are about to wage. Makes absolutely no difference. And why am I using this verse as an example, brothers and sisters? Of course, we as Muslims, none of us partake in this ritual anymore, or at all, ever. But we also foolishly kill our children. How? When we move to these countries, and even in the Middle East today, where the world has become one big community, is that we kill our children, or slaughter our children, or sacrifice our children to the society that we live in. Not knowing, foolishly thinking that this will help us progress within the society, allowing certain things to be in the life of our children, thinking that this is a part of advancement or becoming more civilized, or this will help me in my career if I allow my wife to take off her hijab, my daughter to not wear hijab, if I allow my son to do this and that, if I go and do this and that for my family, that we sometimes see this as a positive thing, not knowing foolishly that we are actually not physically killing our children, but spiritually, mentally, without realizing. How is that so? But before we get into that, I want to give you a historical introduction. A historical introduction about one of the tools that Shaitan uses. Inshallah, on the nights to come, we will illustrate Satan's tactics that he uses against the sons of Adam. But today, since this correlates with our topic in parenting and what we need to do, we will address this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, brothers and sisters, blessed us with this vision. This eye, a jelly substance, maybe weighs a few ounces. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave this eyesight, this vision. And this vision we are tested with. It can either become a source of blessing or a curse upon us. How? It could either be used to seek nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or it could be used as a tool by Shaitan. May Allah curse him and push him away from us in order for him to, what? Trick us and trick our children and families. And this is the most common way that we as Muslims today are usually found lost. What usually affects us the most, the easiest way, is through our vision. And this is something very normal. This is not something new. This is something that the Shaitan has been using for thousands of years. He knew that this eyesight can betray and trick the sons of Adam. And he used this for centuries. The first example is Ashab al-Ras. Have we heard of Ashab al-Ras, brothers and sisters? Ashab al-Ras were a nation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Holy Quran. I advocate and encourage all my young brothers and sisters to read the stories of the Holy Quran. You know, just go and read these stories. Even if you don't want to read the entire Holy Quran, just go and search the holy stories, the stories that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shared with you and I. Because they will have great impact upon our lives once you read them. These are not, you know, make-believe stories, brothers and sisters. Why is it that when we sit in our history class and they give us historical events about, you know, the British Army or the American Revolution or the Civil War and things like that, we believe them, nobody questions. But when it comes to stories in the Quran or the Bible or the Torah, people think that they are fairy tales. Brothers and sisters, they're not fairy tales. Believe in them, that people actually went through these tests and tribulations and how you can learn from them. Ashab al-Ras, brothers and sisters, they say they took place in modern day Azerbaijan. Within Azerbaijan, within this city, there was one major city and then 11 smaller cities adjacent to this metropolitan city that was very big with a huge population, the hugest population within that country or region. Why? Because it also had many water resources. A lot of rivers flow through that land. It was very green, and agriculture is very good in that region. The same reason why people used to live in Mesopotamia before that, because of the Nile and the Tigris River and the Euphrates River, and the land gives very good fruit. It's said that one of the sons of Yaqub was sent to this nation, Ashab al-Ras. The people of this city, these 12 tribes, every month they would conduct parades and they would worship these trees, thinking that all their blessings come from these trees. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent this prophet and he told them that, brothers, sisters, there's someone that created this tree. Someone is blessing you. He's giving you this water. He's giving you this green earth. And that is Allah. Why do you create something so simple? Worship something so simple instead of worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is when Shaitan came and started his first visual illusion and trickery upon the sons of Adam. When they held this large event that would last 12 days out of the year of parading and dancing and drinking and doing every sin in the book within those 12 years, just like we see today. There's, you know, these months out of the year where they're just, you're told that these months are months of celebration. Go do whatever you want. Go enjoy yourself. We see this here. We see this in New Orleans that, you know, drowned, the entire city drowned a few years ago in the United States. The entire city went underwater. And in New Orleans, you know, they have a special parade that people partake in that takes 10 to 2 weeks of basically sitting day and night. Same thing with Ashab al-Ras. So they became angry at this prophet to a point that they dug a well and they placed this prophet of Allah, within the well. They placed him in that well so he can no longer bother them. The people of the city broke into 2 different camps. One camp saying that we should not do this to this prophet, and the other camp was saying, no, let's kill him, let's keep him in there, don't feed him, let him die. Who is this guy to come here and tell us what to do? Look at our wealth, look at our life. We're strong, we're powerful, we're wealthy. So they placed that prophet in the well and they placed the rock over that well, so nobody could hear him. That night, Shaitan came to them, so he could make them believe what they had already believed, not the words of that prophet. He came in a manner when these people, when it used to become night, they used to bring their cattle, they used to burn those cattle. And a smoke would rise from these dead corpses of the cattle. He used that as a mean of his trickery. He came into the tree and he started speaking to them. In the smaller cities, he would use the voice of a young boy and telling them that, yes, you are doing a very good job giving these sacrifices to the tree. There is no God. This is the mother of all gods. And these people were tricked because of his trickery. How's this tree moving and speaking to us and advocating us of our actions? And then the last night, he went to them, to the large tree, the major tree, Shahid al-Akhtaz, what they call it in the historical books. And he started speaking to them with a very loud, thick voice. Yes, you have done a very good job of throwing that prophet in the well and giving me sacrifices instead of the God that this prophet was telling you about. As soon as this happened, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent his punishment upon this nation. How Shaitan used the illusion, our vision, to trick us, brothers and sisters. Today, this can open many thoughts for us. Is how is Shaitan using the same concept? And inshallah we'll get to that. Throughout history, you see Ashab al-Rats, Nebuchadnezzar, how he created the hanging gardens. Also to create an illusion for the people of his nations that I am chosen by God and this is my heaven. Because the prophets of the time would tell the people there are gardens in the skies, in the heavens. They have rivers and they have flowers and trees. What did he do? He went and built the hanging gardens. To a point where he brought trees from all around Asia, exotic animals. He made rivers flow down from the top of these hanging gardens just to defy the prophets at the time, to say that I am God, worship me, and you can enter my garden. You can enter this Eden. And many people were fooled because of this visual effect. Pharaoh wanted to deceive the people of Egypt. How? Also by another visual effect. When he told the sorcerers, the Sahara, and he commanded them to throw the ropes that seemed like pythons in front of the people until Musa alayhi salam destroyed their magic. And when they saw that this is no longer magic, what Musa is showing them, that this is beyond magic and sorcery, they all went to prostration to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they said, we believe in the Allah of Musa, the God of Musa. As-Samiri, have you heard of As-Samiri, brothers and sisters? As-Samiri was another trickster and a tool of Shaitan. He used the dust that was beneath the hooves of the carriage of Jibreel, he carried that dust and he created the golden calf that Bani Israel worshipped. And the illusion was that this cow started to glow and move, and they were shocked. Bani Israel were shocked, even though they had just seen Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power. So Shaitan, brothers and sisters, uses this portal to our souls to trick us. This is why you should never trust the eyes, brothers and sisters, and instead trust your heart. Always trust the heart, because the heart sees the truth, but your eyes can be deceived. Your eyes can be deceived, and we've seen that throughout history. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad says that through your vision could become an arrow, a poisonous arrow of the arrows of Shaitan. We've all heard of the bow of Cupid, how one sight, one glimpse, one look could become the arrow of Cupid. Now, of course, the Western world, they made this nice. They made it seem like it's something good. Cupid is the Shaitan. That one look is not good, brothers and sisters, because that one look could get you in trouble. Sahmun masmumun min ash-shaytan. So we should always remember the teachings of Ahlul Bayt when they tell us to lower our gaze, when the Quran tells us وَقُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَنْ يَغَضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ, for them to look away. And brothers and sisters, the hadiths that tell us to look away, to either look up or to look down to the ground, they say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as soon as a young believer, a female or a male, as soon as they look away and they do not let Cupid shoot his arrow, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards them. So through this eye, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroys us individually or destroys entire civilizations, brothers and sisters. Destroys entire populations. Now, where do we want to get to? I want to focus on what he used to implement and upgrade his methods as a tool that he uses today for him to brainwash every single one of us all around the world. Not just in the United Kingdom, but all around the world, brothers and sisters. Today, with these smartphones, tablets, televisions, you are all being attacked. Don't think that this is some type of fun instrument for you to enjoy your time and that's it. Or else, why would they want it in every single household, in the hand of every young man, woman, child, elderly, every single person within the population? They wouldn't make it so accessible. Even now, when you go to second world countries, third world countries, you'll see people with smartphones. He probably lives in a house that's only made out of bricks and a clay roof, but he has a smartphone and he has a television and a satellite. He doesn't own a car. He doesn't own anything else. Just enough for him to think that he's made it is because he has the satellite television in his house and the smartphone. Why is it that this technology is the easiest technology for us to receive? Because they want to make it accessible for every single person around the world. In October 1872, two gentlemen made a bet. They made a bet whether when a horse is running at full speed, do all its 4 feet, his 4 legs, leave the ground, or only 2 leave the ground at a time. You've all seen when a horse gallops. When a horse gallops, have you looked at its feet, his hand and feet? When you look at it, you think that there are 2 planted on the ground and 2 are off the ground. So they made a bet. And they wanted to see who will win the wager. One of them said, all 4 leave the ground. And the other friend said, no, only 2 at a time. That person was the railroad magnate, Leland Stanford. Also the person who built Stanford University, the mayor of California at the time. He brought someone who had specialized in photography at the time, Edward Muybridge. Muybridge came and set up a camera that would basically take a photo every time that the horse pressed on a certain obstacle. It would take a picture of him, take another picture of him, take another picture of him. By the end of this project, they were able to see that all 4 feet leave the ground when the horse is galloping. So Mr. Stanford at that moment realized how much of an effect this can have on human beings. Psychologically, mentally, play with his emotions. For you, a person who's seeing these pictures, you might have not been there at the time, but you can also feel like you were there because you are seeing these images. And they got the thought that we need to basically focus on this and perfect this module. And whoever perfects this module from today is the one that will control societies and nations in times to come. So the first machine that was created was the zoopraxiscope by the same guy, Muybridge, where he was able to bring 100,000 different images and place them together in order for you to see a living picture. The first picture that they brought to England and America was a picture of a leopard in Africa, and the people here had never seen a leopard or a lion. These are, African animals. None of them had been to Africa. So now these viewers felt like they were in a safari. They felt like they were in the middle of Africa. There's a leopard walking in front of them, before them in that lens when they look through that lens. So it wasn't Thomas Edison, brothers. In history books they say it was Thomas Edison that made the first camera. That's not correct. There were people before him that were making moving images. But anyhow, this started to upgrade and progress until Thomas Edison made this something public. That's what he did. He started creating these parlors where people could come and watch these simple movies, simple images, moving images for free. So this spread like wildfire within New York, within London, within, the West. People would come, the elite would come. They would look in these lenses. Have you seen them? Sometimes, this red toy they used to bring us from Mecca. Our parents, you look in there and the image moves. That's exactly what it was. So people would go there, the elite would go there, and they would see these moving images. And little by little, it became soundless movies. You all see Charlie Chaplin where, he's moving around, but there's no noise. But they knew that even this image is affecting the viewer, which when he falls, or he gets up, or he's happy, or he's sad, the viewer also experiences what he is witnessing as if he is there. And then free screening became the cinema. The cinema that today, every weekend, you need to take your kids to. Dad, we want to go watch a movie. We want to go watch Lilo and Stitch. We want to go do this. We want to, you know. And it became something very common that whether you as a parent raising your child, don't take your child to the cinema or watch Netflix with them and watch these series with them, then you're not part of the society. And this didn't take 1 or 2 days, brothers and sisters. Now it's over 2 centuries that they are perfecting this module. And in 1894, they started doing public screenings where people would come in a public place and they would basically show them a movie. Now, this movie was always of an idea that they wanted the majority of the society or community to follow or to experience or to accept. And this became apparent after World War I. Because after World War I, a lot of fathers in this country lost their lives. In the United Kingdom. So there wasn't many parents there to raise their children. The mothers were probably working in factories and the father had died in the war, in World War I. So they needed a way where they could teach their children, their offsprings, and the people living in this country the British lifestyle. How they perceive a British citizen should be living their life. So at that time, BBC was a private-owned broadcasting company. I don't know if it's still private or public now, but at the time it was a private company. They created what is called the Children's Hour or children's programming. Literally meaning that within this hour we will be programming the children on the values of what we believe is the correct British lifestyle. At first they started with a radio, and then after a few years it was transferred to television and it became a TV show where children at the time would sit down all around England and listen to this. Sallu ala Muhammad. And listen to this broadcast. And this was basically, instead of, you know, the 8 to 12 school hours that we send our children, or 8 to 2 that we send our children to today. So from there, and then this started to progress to a point that, brothers and sisters, BBC spends £150 million on a new contract for a cartoon for your children, if someone could bring them a good cartoon today. £150 million. You could write a good script that goes alongside with their beliefs, their culture, their identity. They'll pay you £150 million for them to air on BBC. You see what type of programs they are putting out there. Right now, one of the most, famous series that you'll see is, for example, like the Gangs of London. or Mobland. I'm sure all the youth have heard of these series. But is this the type of identity that you as a young Muslim should have? But do you think that this does not affect you? Certainly, I see a lot of youth dressing like them, talking like them. So don't say that you're not affected, because from your lifestyle, from the way you walk, from the way you talk, you're being affected, whether you want to accept it or not. Whether you want to say, yes, say it, you're right, or you don't want to say it. The way you're getting your hair cut, the way you're dressing, the way you're talking, the slang you use, is definitely the same as what they portray in these TV shows that they broadcast. Not some of them for free. Not even for you to pay. So every single one of us and their children can watch it. For example, SpongeBob. How many seasons of SpongeBob did they create? And is there someone that needs to pay SpongeBob? No, it's for free. Anything for free, brothers and sisters, there's a price to it. Who's the price? You, the viewer, you are the price. You are basically what's funding this free program. You as a viewer, you are funding this program. This is why even today, when you go to these smartphones, there are free games. Why do they have these advertising in these free games? Paid games won't have advertising. Free games will have advertising. Why? Because you are the product. Your child is the product. Your son, your daughter is the product. 34 seasons of The Simpsons. Never change, never on the same topic. Always a different topic, to a point that today people look at The Simpsons as if it's a prophet. You know, the predictions of The Simpsons for 2025. The prediction of The Simpsons for 2026 as if it's Jibreel talking or something. But look how much it affects society, even us, brothers and sisters. You'll find yourself sending, a video from YouTube of The Simpsons, the predictions of The Simpsons. And you're like, man, these guys are crazy. But look how much of effect they have on us and everybody in society. Engaging it, making it engaging, not boring. Right now, unfortunately, when you go to the stories of the Quran, and if you have kids, children, for example, you want to put some stories of the life of the Imams for your children on YouTube or anywhere, you'll find them to be the most unenjoyable content. It's still stick figures. The cartoon is such bad quality that no child wants to watch. No child wants to watch when he's watching cartoon that's already in 4K anime, and it's thrilling and cool to watch. And then you bring him and tell him, Baba, watch this cartoon about Prophet Adam or Prophet Nuh or Prophet Ibrahim. It's not enjoyable for him because the quality of the work. And this is not funny, brothers and sisters. This is sad, because who's making this content? We the Muslims are making the content. We the Muslims are making the content. We should actually be crying that our content is the worst content. This is something that we should be ashamed of. That you as the Muslim, you have the worst content out of all religions, out of all cultures, out of all societies. Look at what the Christians do when it comes to Jesus Christ. Every Christmas, you'll find 3, 4, 5 movies in the movie theaters that they have spent millions on for their kids, in different manners, in different engaging ways. On YouTube, all over social media. even other religions, brothers and sisters. But when it comes to Islam, you'll find the worst content on social media, in movies, in cartoons, out of everybody. Out of everybody. And then you think to yourself, why my kids don't know anything about the history of the prophets, of the imams, of this and that. Brothers and sisters, the world is changing. Education itself is changing today. Schools are using laptops, iPads. They're using technology. It's no longer what it used to be. Technology is becoming a part of your children. Part of the life of your children. And if you have nothing to offer, you're going to be left in the dust. You're unrelatable. Nobody can relate to you. Your child can't relate to you. Your friends can't relate to you. Society cannot relate to you. So who's this burden on, brothers and sisters? It's on every single one of us. A brother yesterday asked me what we need to do today as young Muslims. What we need to do today. This is what you need to do today, brothers and sisters. You don't necessarily need to stand on a street corner and carry a flag or wear a kufi. No, this is the way you fight. This is your battle. This is your battleground for you to go and study, educate yourself in a manner that you can create content that's good enough to be put on the world stage. That even AMC Cinemas is accepting to broadcast your movie, broadcast your cartoon, but have an Islamic essence to it. Why not? Why not, brothers and sisters? If they don't want to broadcast them, at least we could put them on YouTube and our children can benefit from them. My child does no longer need to watch SpongeBob every day. I could put the stories of the lives of the imams, the prophets. Because as of now, as of this moment, they are basically molding our children with the images they want. What the image of a family should be. You know, if you see a lot of these series, a lot of the time on camera, they'll be on the dinner table. Have you noticed this? Where the mother, father, and the kids are sitting. And how the father is acting, how the mother is acting, and how the children are acting. Why? It's because they want to put you in that environment. And that experience. Usually in our homes we sit, you know, we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You know, there are certain akhlaq when we sit on the table to eat. We have our own experience. But you as a Muslim kid, how do they want you to experience something else? They create that format for you, that scenery for you, and they put it in front of you on the television, or in TikTok, or in Instagram, or wherever you know, you're sitting or using. So they let you experience the life of a different family from a different culture and a different religion, a different faith. And unfortunately, even to today, different sexual orientation. This is something that's highlighted every day within movies, within games, all over, even games at the age of 4 years old. Maybe they might not be having some, you know, explicit acts, but they'll have the flag there. Why? So this 4-year-old child, whenever he goes into Minecraft and he's playing Minecraft, you can see that flag and the rainbow. By the time he becomes 20, it's normalized to him. It's normalized to him. And this is what Shaitan did with every single nation, brothers and sisters. This is why you see the main reason why people stayed silent while one person committed the crime, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished them all. The people of Salih, how many people killed the she-camel? One person. But why did he kill them all? Because they all stayed quiet. It was normalized. Nobody came and said, Baba, this is a sin. This is not part of our life. This is not something acceptable for us. So if you don't change yourself, at least be accepting of it. Sallu ala Muhammad. In 2020, a neurocinematic study came out where they placed certain individuals in an MRI machine. This MRI machine was sole purpose was to see the brain activity of the people in the MRI machine. While they were in the MRI machine, they placed a movie in front of some of them and some of them without a movie. The movie was a horror movie called The Hitchcock Psycho. And basically, 5 minutes out of this movie, there is a gruesome scene of a murder. They wanted to see within those 5 minutes, this person in the MRI machine, what does he go through? What are the brain waves showing? What are the signals and symptoms of this person who's just sitting there watching the movie? And they saw that this person had the same body effect and mental effect as if he was actually there witnessing. As if he was actually standing there in the murder scene. Within the murder scene. Now, you brothers and sisters, take this thought and think what music does to you. Why they use certain instruments of music and tones when you're watching a movie. Why they use certain lighting. Why they use this and that. And why they spend millions of dollars on these things. Because they know how it will psychologically affect every single one of us. Now, what are the solutions to end the lecture, inshallah? We as parents, what are the solutions? One thing, brothers and sisters, I want to tell you, mothers and fathers. Some mothers and fathers, they think it's love for their children if they give everything to their child. Whatever the child wants, yes, you can have it. This is not love, brothers and sisters. This is what the ayah that I read at the start of the lecture is talking about. الَّذِينَ يَقْتُلُونَ أَوْلَادَهُمْ سَفَهًا. You are killing your children in this way out of foolishness, because what you are giving him today in this iPad, iPhone, the freedom that you're giving him a poison to his soul, a poison to his thought, a poison to his religion. It has to be filtered. Why do you think that they even have parental lock? There are, certain gadgets that you can place on these smartphones that lock certain websites, material, content, music, for a purpose. I've seen some the other day. I was at a store. I was with my son. I was buying him a game. And I saw this kid younger than my son, 11 years old. He was probably 9, 8. He told his dad to buy him Grand Theft Auto. I was standing there. I wanted to, butt in and tell him, Baba, this is not for his age. I just thought that this guy is not going to understand what I'm trying to explain to him. When I tell him, this is not for your son's age, he's probably going to, think of it differently, that I don't want his son to have a game and have fun. But everybody here knows what I'm talking about. When your 9-year-old, 10-year-old son comes and tells you, I want Grand Theft Auto or I want to buy a mature rated game, let him throw a fit. Let him go smack his head against the wall if he doesn't like it. He might not appreciate it now, but 10 years, 15 years down the line, when he becomes a father, when he becomes a father, she becomes a mother, they will come and say, Wallah, Dad, Mom, I really appreciate that you put filters in my life. That you didn't allow me to see all these things, or else it would have confused me. So, brothers and sisters, we need to be very careful. We need to be very careful. Don't just give an iPad, an iPhone to your son, daughter, and just say, you know, he's watching YouTube Kids. That's it. I'll tell you one thing about YouTube Kids, brothers and sisters. It might not have the same content as the normal YouTube, but sometimes even more dangerous. Because YouTube Kids, brothers and sisters, they'll bring the same poisonous information to your child, but with Lego. But you as a father, you think your son and daughter are watching a Lego video. But in essence, they're providing them with that poisonous message that they want to convey. You know, one time, before I realized this myself, you know, I thought YouTube Kids is gonna have all innocent content. Brothers and sisters, there is no more innocent content. No more innocent content. Don't fool yourself. There's no innocent content. Even in toys today, they're putting their poison in them. They want to turn the superheroes that we used to watch as children as homosexual characters. Superman, the next Superman is going to be homosexual. Can you believe it? Lego is bringing out an entire edition. Why? Why are they choosing such an age as well? Why are they using such characters? It's so you, your children, and everybody in society becomes normalized to it. Normalized to it. So YouTube Kids, I have YouTube Kids on for my daughter. She said, you know, she wants YouTube Kids. And, you know, we were just sitting moments after I downloaded it for her. I remember she was seeing a video. It was about someone talking about their family with Legos. And I was like, Yalla, you know, she's watching Legos. What could go wrong? So the guy starts to explain, holding Legos up. This is my dad, and this is his husband. Ya Allah! What kind of YouTube Kids is this? This is my mother, and this is her boyfriend. And we all live together with Legos. For you, thinking this is YouTube Kids for children. But look at the content that they're teaching this kid. Look at the content that they're putting out there. Don't be fooled, brothers and sisters. One day, Abu Aswad al-Du'ali came home. He saw a bucket of honey. And his young daughter, you know, was sitting there, putting her finger in there, eating some of the honey. Abu Aswad al-Du'ali was one of the close companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He asked his daughter, who brought this honey? Because, you know, he was poor, he couldn't afford it. She said, someone came and she said, this is from Muawiyah. He said, my daughter, please don't eat any of this. This is honey, but within it there is poison. You eat this today, tomorrow, the person that's in your heart, the person we love in our heart, every single one of you here, which is Ali ibn Abi Talib, will shift little by little, until there is someone else in your heart, in your children's hearts, brothers and sisters. Now you understand the message I'm trying to convey to you? It comes in an innocent manner, but it is extremely dangerous. We as the Shia community, we also put out good content. But how many years ago? 200 years ago. The book of Muraja'at, Layali Peshawar. At the time, the people who wrote this was great content. Now it's different, brothers and sisters. At the time, it had an impact. A book had an impact. Today, it no longer has an impact. How many of our young brothers and sisters here, if I tell them the book of Layali Peshawar, they know what it is? At that time, it caused the uproar. At the time, it was a revolution. Today, it means nothing. So we have to come and understand that we need these new tools in this modern battleground. We need to come together. We need to create a public funding of all the 12 Shias. We need to create a funding where all communities, Shia communities around the world, are putting money in this fund. For what? For our children. For our children. For our young sons and daughters. Because this could go a long way, brothers and sisters. This is the new means of education and brainwashing. This is the new means of teaching. They use it for brainwashing. Let's use it for educational purposes. And start to broadcast them and portray the messages that we want to convey. One of those messages could be the story of Taw'a. How many of us know who Taw'a is? Taw'a was one of the most courageous, most brave women in Islamic history, brothers and sisters. And Islam, especially the Shia school of thought, gives so much respect to this woman because of her sincere, brave, courageous act when all the men of Kufa betrayed Muslim ibn Aqil. Her life could be uplifting. Her life and her message could change the life of our sisters today. And the story and the uprising of Imam Hussein and the tragedy of Karbala, we only hear the story of Sayyidah Zainab. Not that Sayyidah Zainab is not enough, but there were also other believing sisters with great courage, great iman, great taqwa, that were equivalent to 1,000 men, 10,000 men, all the men of Kufa. She was more precious than them. Sisters, don't think that your actions don't have an effect upon society. Your actions have a great force upon society, upon people's iman, upon defending this religion. When females stood up to protect this religion, it was not always Ali ibn Abi Talib. On a night like tonight, it was Taw'a who stood up bravely to defend this religion. We have so many beautiful messages to convey and to create and to broadcast, not to just for our children, but even for other communities, non-Muslims, to see and to learn what we are about. Why, for 14 centuries, we are still here wearing black and commemorating Hussein? Why? It's through these messages. But how will they get to see and understand these messages if we are not doing anything, brothers and sisters. This is our shortcoming. After Salat al-Maghrib, Muslim ibn Aqil turned around, brothers and sisters, from thousands being in the masjid of Kufa to only 30 people. He left the masjid. The first alley that he entered, he was alone. He was alone. Imagine, from the first day there is 20,000 people around you, to 2 days later you're alone. There is nobody there. You are a stranger in a city. You don't know anyone. And you have no means to defend yourself. You don't even have water to drink. No one is even there to come and say, are you thirsty? Have some water. So he sat down by his doorstep with his head down in sorrow, thinking of the outcomes, thinking what happened. These people invited us, now they betrayed us. The door opened. Taw'a, this pious woman, this gem of a woman, she told him, Ya Abdullah, Ya, O the servant of Allah, what are you doing sitting at my doorstep? This does not look nice for me. You're a strange man. I'm a woman here by myself. What are the people going to say if they see you here? They're going to say bad things about me. Please, don't sit here. Muslim ibn Aqil did not say anything. Instead, he lowered his gaze even lower with shame that he has to sit outside the strange lady's house. I have nowhere to go, he tells her. She tells him, go to your clan, go to your ashira. He says, I have no clan here. She tells him, then who are you? Where are you from? He says, Ana Muslim ibn Aqil. I am Muslim ibn Aqil. I am the nephew of Amir al-Mu'mineen. I am from Medina. I came here because these people requested us here. But now they have all left us. I am ghareeb. I am a stranger here. Oh lady, I am very thirsty. Can you give me some water, please? She says, of course. Of course I can give you water. You no longer have to leave either. I will place you on my head. You are from the best of families. I will protect you. Come into my home if you have nowhere to go. You see, brothers, you see, sisters, she was the only one willing to protect the progeny of Rasulullah, the family of Amir al-Mu'mineen, to protect the wazir of Imam Hussein in Kufa. He drank his water. She made a room ready for him. Muslim ibn Aqil, brothers and sisters, spent that night in worship. She brought him food. He said, I don't want food tonight. Tonight, it's the night of worship. It's the night that I need to be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Unfortunately, Taw'a, this gem of a woman, she had a son who had been lost to society. That society had taken him from her. He had let shaitan's illusions overcloud his judgment. He came to her. He told her there's a stranger in the house. She said, this is not a stranger. This is Muslim ibn Aqil. He had heard there's a bounty on his head. He ran out of the house. He went to Qasr al-Imara. He told them, my mother is hiding Muslim ibn Aqil. Within moments, 500 armored men surrounded the house of Taw'a. Muslim ibn Aqil came down and he started to fight courageously. He started to fight courageously. They saw that they can't control him. They started to throw stones and fire on him from the rooftops. They could not control him. They created a pit, brothers and sisters. They put leaves on top of it. Muslim ibn Aqil fell in the pit. They came and restrained him. One of the enemies of Allah hit Muslim ibn Aqil on his mouth. Muslim's mouth started to bleed. Muslim started to cry. He told him, Muslim, you're crying because you will be killed in a few moments? He said, La wallah, I am crying because what will come of my master Hussein and his family? How can I get the message to Imam Hussein that you have betrayed us? They took him to the top of the courtyard. Muslim ibn Aqil prayed his last prayers until they cut off his head and threw him off the castle. أين المنادي وسيدا ومسلما إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. صلوا على محمد Brothers and sisters, recite a salawat and come forward.